Hello statistics students. In this video, we are going to look at week 6 graded assignment solutions. We look at each step and identify the correct option or arrive at the correct answer. The first question is, in a horse race, 6 horses numbered 1 to 6 are participating. What is the probability that all even numbered horses complete the race first? That is, even numbered horses occupy the first, second and third places. So they have said that the horses were named 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all the even numbered horses should be occupying the first, second and third place. So 2, 4, 6. Let this be the first place, second place, third place, and the remaining odd numbered horses can occupy the 4, 5, 6 places. So could be 1, 5, 3. So this is 4th place, this is 5th place, and this is 6th place. So we know that this 2, 4, 6, right? This could be arranged in 3 factorial ways. This could be interchanged. It need not be that only two second numbered horses come first. Any even numbered horses can come in the first place, and any even numbered horses can come in second place, and any even numbered horse can come in third place. So these 2, 4, 6 can be interchanged among themselves in 3 factorial ways. And this 1, 5, 3, which are nothing but odd numbered horses, can occupy 4, 5, 6 in 3 factorial ways. So the total ways of even numbered horses occupying the first 3 places and odd numbered horses occupying the next 3 places would be 3 factorial into 3 factorial ways. We know that these 6 horses can come. If you don't have this condition of even numbered horses occupying first place, they can come they can occupy the first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth place in 6 factorial ways. So the probability would be the numerator is total number of possible ways. Then the numerator would be the possible ways for this given condition of even numbered horses occupy first place. That is 3 factorial into 3 factorial. The answer for that would be 0.05. Let us move to the next question. They were saying that Nandini's phone battery dies as she is driving to her hometown. She knows that there is a 2 four-way junctions. So whichever home it is there will be some 2 four-way junctions. It could be like this, or it could be like this, or it could be like this. Whichever way she need to be coming at 2 four-way junctions, she will be coming across 2 four-way junctions before she reaches her home. Suppose Nandini N, she is here. For her to be reaching a home, she need to be coming across 2 four-way junctions. This is 1 four-way junction. This is second four-way junction. So she drives on until she reaches a four-way junction. Suppose like she is here, and she drives on until she reaches here at this point. And from here on, she will be choosing any one of these the upcoming ways, either this way or the straight way. And then again at the next four-way junction, she again randomly chooses one of the ways in front of her. And at this junction also, she will be choosing any one of these ways, either to the left or to the right or to straight ahead. What is the probability that Nandini will reach her hometown without having to head back? Let us draw the whole picture of what are the possible ways. So let us assume that Nandini, she is here, represented by N. She will be driving ahead until she comes across a four-way junction. This is a four-way junction. And at this junction, she could be having 3 options. She could go either to the left or to the right or straight. Suppose she chooses left, she will be going ahead until she reaches one more four-way junction. That is, she will be going ahead until she reaches one more four-way junction, and then she will be choosing either of this left again, or right, or straight. So in this way, she will be going and she will be coming to a point like, okay, I didn't reach my home, and she might be heading back. So for this case, there will be three possible ways. After choosing left, she could go either again left or right or straight. And if she goes straight, the possible ways would be for her again she will be coming across a 4-way junction, and again she has the option of taking left, right or straight. Again she will be having 3 options, and if she takes right here, she will be coming until she comes across again to a second 4-way junction, and she has the option of taking left, right or straight. Here also she would be having 3 options. So the total possible ways in which she could take 2 4-way junctions would be 3 plus 3 plus 3. That is equals to 9. Either she will be going this way or this way. So the total possible ways would be 3 plus 3 plus 3, which is 9. But there is only one possibility of her home being. Either it could be here, or 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 it could be here, here, or these 3 places. Only at one place among these 9 places there will be Nandini's home. So the probability that Nandini will reach her hometown without having to head back would be the possible ways. That is, she should be reaching home while she takes arbitrary itself. So the possibility of that would be 1. The number of chances would be 1, and the total number of ways she could choose is 2 4-way junctions would be 9. So the probability would be 1 by 9. So the third question is, in a family gathering, 12 people sit around a table. Among them, couple A wants to sit together. What is the probability that couple A sit according to their wish? Let us look at the question there. So we have couple A is like, let's say this is male, female. This is the couple. They want to sit together here. So here we have two people done. So there were remaining 10 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the remaining 10 people can sit wherever they want, but this couple, male and female, they should be sitting together. So what we could do is we could consider this male and female as one entity, and these 10 people as different entities. So, and we could arrange them in a circular manner. So this is considered as one entity. Remaining we have 10. So total we have 10 plus 1 people, and this 10 plus 1 11 people could be arranged in a circle in, you know that it would be n minus 1 factorial. That would be 11 minus 1 factorial, that is 10 factorial. But for each of these combinations, for each of this arrangement, there will be 2 possibilities of, or they could be in the male female or female male. In either of these ways, they could be sitting together. So the total possible ways would be 10 factorial into 2. So they could be sitting together in 10 factorial into 2 ways. That is a possible ways for these couple to be sitting together. But the total possible ways in which these 12 people can sit together would be, without considering that male and female should sit together, will be 12 minus 1 factorial. That is nothing but 11 factorial. So the total possible ways in which these 12 people could sit is 11 factorial. So the probability of this male and female sitting together would be the possible ways for them by divided by total possible ways. The possible ways are 10 factorial into 2 divided by total possible ways 10 factorial. That is equals to 2 by 11. If you look at the fourth question, they have given that probability of C is 0.3, probability of A and B equals 0.6, and probability of A and B and C is 0.8. Then what is the value of A and B intersection C? So let us draw a Venn diagram for this. That could be easier. This is A, this is B, this is C. They have given probability of C, this one. They have given this value as 0.3, and probability of A and B, I am denoting that by vertical lines. This is 0.6, and A union B union C, the total of this area would be 0.8. What they are asking is probability of A union B intersection C. This is nothing but this particular area. This particular area. To get this particular area, it is nothing but we are adding this area twice. Like this would be nothing but probability of C plus probability of A union B minus probability of A union B intersection C. This is the probability of A union B union C. Since this A union B intersection C is added twice, once in C and once in B, we are subtracting that. That would be the probability of A union B union C. Now we know probability of C, probability of A union B, probability of A union B union C. We can get this particular value. This implies probability of C, which is nothing but 0.3 plus 0.6 minus probability of A union B intersection C is equals to 0.8. Implies this particular value would be, which is probability of A union B intersection C would be 0.8, 0.9 minus 0.8, which would be 0.1. This is the fourth question. If you look at the fifth question, a letter is selected from the letters of the phrase machine. What is the probability that the letter selected is not a vowel? So let us look at the word machine. Among these, what are all the vowels? M is not a vowel, A is a vowel, 1. C is not a vowel, H is not a vowel, I is a vowel, and E is a vowel, N is not a vowel. So we have 3 vowels and 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 consonants. The probability of not selecting a vowel would be the total possible ways 7 minus 3, which would be 4, divided by the total possible ways of selecting a letter, which is nothing but 1 among these 7. So that would be 4 divided by 7. If you look at the sixth question, the committee consists of 4 Indians, 3 Americans, and 3 people from the United Kingdom. If one member of a committee is selected as a head, what is the probability that selected head will be an Indian? We have 4 Indians, 3 Americans, and 3 from UK. So what are the total number of ways in which we can select Indian as a head? 4 ways. Since we have 4 Indians, what are the total possible ways in which we can select head from one among this 4 plus 3 plus 3, which is nothing but 10. 10 people, which would be 10. So the probability of selecting Indian would be 4 by 10, which is nothing but 0.4. If you look at the seventh question, we have E1, E2, E3, and so on, En are non-empty disjoint sets. Disjoint sets means that they don't have any elements in common and subsets of a sample spaces. This is anyway true because every set should be subset of a sample space. And a set En plus 1 is also a subset of S. Then which of the following statements are true? The first option is E1 intersection En plus 1, E2 intersection En plus 1, E3 intersection En plus 1, En intersection En plus 1 are disjoint. If you look at E1, E2, E3, En are disjoints, and if you come across any set that is subset of E1, let's say some F1 which is subset of E1, F2 which is subset of E2, F3 which is subset of E3, and Fn, since whatever elements which are in F1 will be there in E1 and whatever elements which are there in F2 will be in E2, if E1 and E2 are disjoint sets, then F1 and F2 also will be disjoint since they don't have any elements in common. Similarly, F1, F2, F3 and so on, Fn also will be disjoint sets. If you look at E1 intersection En plus 1, this will include all the elements that are common for E1 and En plus 1. So it should be a subset of E1. So this could be F1, this is F2, this is F3, and so on, this is Fn. As we have seen that if they are subsets of E1, and if this is subset of E2, and if this is subset of E3, then F1, F2, F3, and so on, F1 are disjoint. So E1 intersection En plus 1, E2 intersection En plus 1, E3 intersection En plus 1, and so on, En intersection En plus 1 are disjoint. So the first option is correct. The probability of union of each of the disjoint sets is equals to sum of the probabilities. That is the second statement. Since these are disjoint sets, the sum of the union of probability will be nothing but the sum of the probabilities of each sets. So the second option is correct. Third option is En plus 1 and En are disjoint, then E1, E2, and so on, En minus 1 are disjoint with each other. We'll draw a diagram for this and look at the answer, because that is quite tricky. Since E1 to En are disjoint, I'm drawing it like square boxes. Let us assume this is E1, this is E2, this is E3, this is E4, E5, maybe this is En minus 1, this is En, or something like that. Something like that, we have n number boxes. And from this, what they were saying is En plus 1 and En are disjoint. Let's assume, since this is En, let's assume there is a set called En plus 1, which could be this one. This is En plus 1 set. And from this diagram, we can clearly say that En and En plus 1 are disjoint, since they don't have any common area or any common elements. So whatever they said, En plus 1 and En are disjoint, so that is correct. We drew the condition correctly. And let's see the conclusion. E1, E2, and so on, En minus 1 are disjoint with En plus 1. E1 to En minus 1, they shouldn't be having any common elements with En plus 1. But that is simply not true, because from this diagram, we are seeing that En minus 1 and En plus 1, they're having this common area. So just because one among these n disjoint sets is disjoint with any another set En plus 1, that doesn't mean that all the other sets are also disjoint with this n plus 1 set. So the third option is wrong. The sets E1, E2, E3, and so on, E4, and so on, En are En comma phi are disjoint. Phi is null set. Null set is disjoint with any set, since it doesn't have any elements. So E1, E2, E3, and so on, En comma phi are also disjoint. So the option D is correct. E1, E2, E3, E4, and so on, En comma S are disjoint. This S is a sample space. E1 and S, they have some common elements. All the elements which are in E1 will be there in ES. All the elements which are there in E2 will be there in S. So E1 and S are not disjoint. So the sets E1, E2, E3, E4, and so on, En comma S are not disjoint. So the option E is not correct. Let us look at the 8th question. Which of the following statements is are true? P of A union B union C whole complement is equals to P of A complement intersection B complement intersection C complement. This appears to be a big tricky one. Let's solve this later. Probability of A intersection phi equals 0. A intersection phi is nothing but null set, would be phi, because intersection with respect to no element set would be no element set only. So the probability of null set is equal to 0. So the option B is correct. Probability of A union phi is equal to probability of A. A union phi is nothing but A, since the phi doesn't have any element. So union of A elements with null set would be equal to A element set only. So the probability of A union phi would be equal to probability of A itself. Option C is correct. The fourth option is probability of A complement union B union C equals to this particular big expression. We will solve it using Venn diagrams. A union, let's look at the first option. A union B union C whole complement. This is A, this is B, this is C. A union B union C whole complement would be this particular area. Area of the entire big rectangle without including the area of this circles. 3 circles A, B, C. This is A union B union C whole complement. These are the elements which will be there, or area for A union B union C whole complement. And if the area of A union B union C whole complement is same as A complement intersection B complement intersection C complement, then we could say that probability of A union B union C whole complement is same as probability of A complement intersection B complement intersection C complement. So let us look at the area of A complement intersection B complement intersection C complement. A complement area, I will draw one more diagram for this. A complement would be this particular area. This is A, so you shouldn't just include A, except that any other is alright. So this is B. So B complement would be, I'm representing B complement with vertical lines. B complement would be all this area except B. And if you look at C complement, this is C. So the C complement should be except this particular area, except this particular circle, every other area in the sample space would be C complement. I'm representing that by angle lines. So A complement intersection B complement intersection C complement, it should be having all the horizontal lines, it should be having vertical lines, and it should be having angle lines. So all these 3 lines should be there. Let's look at the area which contains all these 3 lines. This particular area of C, it contains only vertical lines. It contains only vertical lines and horizontal lines. So this all the area of C is not included in A complement intersection B complement intersection C complement. If you look at A, it has only vertical lines. It has only vertical lines here, and it has angle lines. It does not have horizontal lines. So entire area of A is also not included. So if you look at B there, B it has angle lines. It has this angle lines, and it has the horizontal lines too, but it does not have vertical lines. So the B area is also not there. So if you remove these 3 circles A, B, C, every other area it has vertical, it has angle lines, it has vertical lines, and it has horizontal lines. So this area would be totally equals to this horizontal lines area. So A union B union C whole complement is nothing but A complement intersection B complement intersection C complement. So the probability of A union B union C whole complement would be equals to a probability of A complement intersection B complement intersection C complement. So the first option is correct. Let us look at the last option. The last option is probability of A complement union B union C equals to 1 minus probability of A plus probability of A intersection B plus probability of A intersection C minus probability of A intersection B intersection C. So we'll solve it. They are asking for probability of A complement union B union C. So this would be, we can take it as A complement union B union C, and then we can try to solve. This would be the probability of A complement plus probability of B union C minus probability of A complement intersection B union C. This is similar to probability of A union B, which is nothing but probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection B. Except that in place of A we have A complement, and in place of B we have B union C. So this is it, and we know that probability of A complement is nothing but 1 minus P of A. This P of B union C, will let it be like that. and we need to find the value of P of A complement intersection B union C. To find the value of P of A complement intersection B union C, we'll draw the Venn diagram for that. This is A, this is B, this is C. A complement would be this particular whole horizontal line area. A complement intersection B union C would be this particular area. This particular area, this is nothing but B union C except the part of where A intersects with B union C. This is the area of A complement intersection B union C. So to get the probability of A complement intersection B union C, all we need to do is we need to get the probability of B union C in overall, and we need to subtract this particular probability of A intersection B union C. This is the area which we should subtract, and I'll be highlighting that with this is the area which we should be removing. If you look at this black colored area, it is nothing but A intersection B area plus B intersection C area minus the area of A intersection B intersection C. This I have given it written it like that because we are adding this 2 times, A intersection B and B intersection C. In that also we'll be having A intersection B intersection C. That's why I'm subtracting that. So minus the probability of A intersection B union C is nothing but, so this value would be nothing but probability of B union C minus probability of A intersection B plus probability of B intersection C minus probability of A intersection B intersection C. If you take this out, it would be probability of B union C minus probability of A intersection B minus probability of B intersection C plus probability of A intersection B intersection C. We will substitute this value which we got here in this particular equation. After substituting that, we will be getting it as P of A complement union B union C is equals to 1 minus P of A plus P of B union C minus of this particular whole area minus of P of B union C minus P of A intersection B minus P of B intersection C plus P of A intersection B intersection C. So this would be 1 minus P of A plus P of B union C. This minus sign I will be taking it inside. Minus P of B union C plus P of A intersection B plus P of B intersection C minus P of A intersection B intersection C. B union C gets cancelled out, so it would be 1 minus P of A plus P of A intersection B plus B of B intersection C. Sorry, made a mistake here. It's not P of B intersection C, it is P of A intersection C. It's P of A intersection C, because we are not including this area. We are including only this area, P of A intersection C. So this would be 1 minus P of A plus P of A intersection B plus P of A intersection C minus P of A intersection B intersection C. This is what they gave as the option. So option D is correct. Let us look at the 9th question. In an exam, there are 10 multiple select questions. In each multiple select question, there are 4 options for each question. More than one option could be correct. If a student chooses all the correct options, he or she would get 4 marks for that question. Else, he will not get any marks for that question. What is the probability that he or she will score at least 16 marks in the question? So, for the student to get 16 marks, he should be scoring 4 into 4. That means he should be getting at least 4 questions correct. He should be getting at least 4 questions correct. So let us look at each question and identify in what are the possible ways he can select an answer. He can tick that an answer. The options are A, B, C, D, since they give 4 options for each question. So he can either select one as an option, like he can either select A or B or C or D. So he can choose one of them. It would be 4C1. Or he can put 2. Since more than one option could be correct, he can select AB or AC or AD or BC or BD, something in that. So we should be choosing two options from these 4. So it would be 4C2. Or he could select 3. He could select ABC, BCD, ACD or BAD. So he should be selecting 3 options from this 4. So the total number of ways that could be done is 4C3. Or he could select all the 4. He could tick A, B, C, D. That could be done in one way, 4C4. We will be assuming that he will be selecting at least one option. So the total possible ways would be 4C1, which is nothing but 4. 4C2 is 4 into 3 by 2, which is nothing but 6. And 4C3 is 4 and 4C4 is 1. This is nothing but 15. So for each question he has 15 options, 15 number of ways he can select an answer. But there is only one way that it could be correct. It could either be A, only one option could be correct, or 2 options could be correct, or 3 options could be correct, or all the options could be correct. There is only one way among these 15 ways which is correct. So he could choose correct way. The probability of him getting correct would be 1 by 15, because there is only one way that it could be correct among these 15 ways. He could choose wrong way in 14 by 15 ways, because except for one case and all the other options are wrong. So all the other ways he selects would be wrong. So the probability of him getting wrong would be 14 by 15. So what we should be doing here is, he should be getting at least 16 marks. So he should be getting at least 4 questions correct. So what we can do is, we can just subtract the case of 3 questions correct, 2 questions correct, 1 question correct, or 0 questions correct. If you could get this probability, then we could get the case of, if you just subtract it from 1, we'll be getting the case of getting at least 4 questions correct. So let us look at each one. For him to get 3 questions correct, first of all he should be choosing like those 3 questions from among these 10 questions. So that would be in 10C3 ways, and the probability of those 3 questions correct would be 1 by 15 whole power 3, and for them to be wrong, it would be 14 by 15 whole power 7. So 2 questions correct, it would be 10C2 into similarly 1 by 15 whole square, because only 2 questions correct, and 14 by 15 whole power 8. For it to be one question correct, it would be 10c1 into 1 by 15 whole power 1 into 14 by 15 whole power 9. For 0 questions to be correct, it would be 10c0 into 1 by 15 whole power 0, which is nothing but 1, into 14 by 15 whole power 10. These are the total. So this is the probability of getting 3 questions correct, 2 questions correct, 1 question correct, and 0 question correct. So the total probability of getting more than 4 questions correct would be nothing but 1 minus of this probability, which is nothing but 10c3 into 14 power 7 divided by 15 power 10 plus 10c2 into 14 power 8 divided by 15 power 10. This 10 is nothing but this 2 plus 8. Here 3 plus 7 also would be 10. 1 plus 9 would be 10. 10 plus 0 would be 10. That's why I'm taking this denominator as common. And plus 10c1 into 14 power 9 divided by 15 power 10 plus 10c0, which is nothing but 1 into 14 power 10 divided by 15 power 10. So if you compute this, it would be approximately equals to 0.002991. That's why the accepted range is 0.0022 to 0.004. Let us look at the final question. In this question, we have a player needs to throw a dart on a circular board which radius is 8.5. This is a circular board and he needs to throw at it. The points allotted to the player are based on where it lands. It could land here, here, or somewhere here. So he was saying, let r be the distance at which dart lands from the center of the board. Then the points allotted are as follows: 0 to 1, 10 points. This is the center. If the distance from the center is 0 to 1, then it would be 10 points. So let's assume this distance is 1. So this would be 10 points. The distance is from 1 to 3. The distance is from 1 to 3. Then it would be 8 points. And if the distance is from 3 to 5, it's like from here to here, the distance is 3 to 5. So for this it would be 6 points. And if it is 5 to 7, let's assume this distance is 5 to 7. For this you'll be getting 4 points. And if it is in between, and if it is from 7 to 8, 7 to 8, then he'll be getting 2 points. And if it is 8 to 8.5, then he'll be getting 0 points. Okay. So assume the player is not a professional and that there is an equal chance that the dart could land anywhere on the board. What is the probability that the points scored by the player in one throw is a multiple of 4? So it could land anywhere. It could land here, 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 or here, here, here. It could land it at any particular area. And they are asking what is the probability that the points he gets is a multiple of 4. So it could be either 4 points or 8 points. So here some people consider this 0 as a multiple of 4. Actually it is a multiple of 4. And some people might have forgotten that 0 is a multiple of 4. So for both the cases, we'll be awarding marks. So for him to be getting 4 points, he should be landing it at in between 5 to 7. This is the area he should be landing it at. For him to get 8 points, he should be landing it at here, 1, 2, 3. He should be landing it at here. And for him to get 0 points, he should be landing it at the outermost edge. So it should be here. So the probability for him to get this would be, it is nothing but area of this black colored one, this blue color, and this pink color one. The probability that it could land here would be proportional to this area. The probability that since it could land anywhere, the probability that it could land here, or here would be proportional to the sum of these areas. So area of this would be pi into outermost one 8.5 square minus 8 square. The area of circle is pi r square. So probability that it could land here is pi into, it is 5 to 7, so 7 square minus 5 square. We know that the difference between areas would be, to get this pink area, I should be doing this outermost radius pi into r2 square minus of this inner circle radius r1 square. This is the formula I use to get the area for pink, or whichever case. This is the formula for getting area of ring or any other thing in this manner. And the blue colored area would be pi into this 3 to 1, so 3 square minus 1 square. This is the proportional area for him to get a multiple of 4. For it to be not a the total probability that it could land anywhere would be equals to pi into the total area of the circle, which is nothing but 8.5 square. So the probability that he will be getting a points a multiple of 4 would be nothing but this area divided by this area, the favorable way divided by the total possible way, which would be pi into 8.5 square minus 8 square plus pi into 7 square minus 5 square plus pi into 3 square minus 1 square is nothing but 9 minus 1, 8 divided by pi into 8.5 square. We can cancel out this pi. If we solve it, the value would be approximately equals to 0.557. If you forgot to consider that 0 is a multiple of 4, and if you didn't include this area, the value would be approximately equals to 0.442. So either way, we are accepting this as correct. Thank you.